for grade 10, the main aim for grade 10 is to learn the foundation blocks of Delphi and what we can do. So what we've done in term 1 and 2, we did the maths class. So we looked how to use the random and the max and those things. And we also did loops. So the next piece that's left over now for the second half of this year is to work with strings. So there's, just like in maths, there was the square root function and a random function. And there was these different functions we could call upon to do different math things. Just like that in strings, or working with words, we've also got functions that works with that. And then the other piece we're going to add on later is conditional structures, like if. And that will be like if you want to do a certain code. So like if the gender is male, then the price should be 20 Rand. Or if it's female, price should be 50 Rand or whatever. So a conditional structure so that certain code only appears if a certain condition is met. That type of thing. So that's our aim for the second half of this year. What I will do is we will look for what I've done. I renamed the buttons to the functions we're going to use. So each of these buttons, the name or the thing you can see there, is like a hint of what we're going to use to get that done. So recording at least. So, all right. So the idea of this program is the person's going to type in anything he wants to there. And when we click there, we want to see how many characters are there. So if he just said John, and we click that, we want the number 4 to be displayed because there's 4 characters in that word. All right. So let's start with that. So this was the piece. We can ignore what's there. All right. So my first thing that I want from you, when we click this button, what is the first thing we need to do? If I want to find out how many characters are there in a sentence, in this sentence, what's the first thing I need to do? Yes. So, but what do we need to do first? If I asked you how many letters is in a sentence, what's the first thing you need? Yes. So our step 1 is get the sentence. So if we're getting a sentence, what data type will that be? Yes, string. So remember what we've worked with up until now. We basically worked with integers, which was for whole numbers, and we worked with doubles, which was with numbers with fractions. So those are the two main ones we worked with up until now. So the next main one we're going to start working with now is a string. A string is for basically anything. If you can remember from term 1 when we just went over this, a string can keep anything. I can put numbers in there. I can put a number 1 into a string, and I can have another string with a number 1. But then if I add them together, what will my answer be? Who can remember? See, so if sentence 1 had a value of 1, and sentence 2 had a value of 1, if I then went and displayed, let's just see my edit box. Or did I not rename the stuff? I didn't rename my variables. Ish, sorry everyone. All these components are not renamed. Alright, so but in the labeled edit, if I now display the sen1 plus sen2, what will my answer be if I add 1 and 1 but both of them are strings? Yes. Remember, because they're strings, it can't do the answer. So it will be this one and this one, so it will be a 1, 1, which is 11. So that's the only downside to string. String can keep any value, but we can't do mathematical calculations with it. So that's why we need our integers and doubles when we want to start working with numbers. All right. So, but now, for now, we said our step one would be we need to get the sentence. So our sentence, we need to get from our labeled edit one, the text property. All right, yeah. Are we going to quickly rename these things? No, I'm not going to rename it now. You can maybe when you've got time, you can just rename all of these once. You can just go to name. The labeled edit should be EDT. Yeah, sorry about that. All right, so our labeled edit one dot text. So this will get the sentence from there and put it in there. So now we've got the sentence. So luckily, there's a function called length that will tell us how many characters there are. But if you work that, let's say, like I said, if we've got the guy's name, let's say he types in his name John. What will my answer be if you count how many characters is in that? How many characters in there? 4. And what data type is 4? Yes, it's a whole number. So the data type we call for whole numbers. Integer, do you agree? All right. So we've got our sentence that we're going to put in there, and then the number of characters we're going to put in there. So now I can say the number of characters will get the value. And then we can use this length function. So you'll see length is there, the length function. And then in the brackets, you must just say, we want the length of what? We wanted the length of the sentence. Do you agree? So we want the length of sen. So length will now tell me how many characters are there in this variable, which is my sentence, which I got from that component. So now the number of characters is inside num. So who wants to help me? What would be the next step now? So I've got the sentence, I've got the number of characters that's there. What's the last thing we need to do now? Yes, perfect. So yeah, again, I'm gonna apologize every now and again because I hate not renaming the stuff. So this one is called labeled edit 2. So in my labeled edit 2, in the text property, I want to put my num. But can I just display num like this? We'll see when we play it. It says error. And it tells us the string and integer. So what do we need to do when we want to display an integer again? What is needed here? I know it was a long holiday, but we need to try and remember. Yeah, somebody said something. Yes, perfect. We need to convert them. Remember, this integer we can't just display. So we need to take this integer to a string, and that would work. Let's see how this works. So if we play this now, then we say it's We say hi, John. So remember, each character, even the space, is a character. So do you agree this should be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7? Let's see. And there's the answer, 7. So length we can use to tell us how many characters are there in a sentence. And that's our first one. Let's look at the next one. So this code I will post for you. I know it's difficult to do the two screens at once. Okay, well, this one is the square brackets that we're going to use. So what we want, if this button is clicked, we want to show the first letter. So basically what we want to do, we want to extract a letter at a specific position. So do you agree? Let me just, I'm going to just copy that. So our step 1 will be, we need to get the sentence again. Step 1, create our sentence variable, and then just get the sentence again. So that's the first thing we need to do. And now, once we've got the sentence, we can now get the first character. So now we can look at either another data type if we want to. For now, I don't want to. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to create another string called, let's say, first, because it's the first character we're creating or we're extracting. And then how this works, we can say that, yes. Let's quickly go through this again. So what this button wants to do is we want to take the first letter from the sentence and display that. So if I've got the same sentence, hi John, I want to put the letter H there. So just the first letter of the sentence. So our step 1 will be get the sentence. So we create the sentence variable, which is a string, because there's a lot of characters in, and then the sentence will get the value from that edit box. So now we've got the sentence. So step 2 is to just extract the first character. So you've got two choices. Remember, a string can also be one character. That doesn't matter. So you could have either created a string, which I wanted to do so not to confuse you too much, but you could have also created, because it's a character, you could have created it of type char, which is our other data type we've got. But for today, I don't want to introduce another data type for now. So I want to stick with the strings. So this first variable, so what I've done up here now, I created two variables, both of them string. Maybe this confused you. We can also go sentence of type string, and then you can say here first of type string. You can do that as well. So that's also fine. It's just a bit shorter. If you just, all the strings, you say this one, and then comma, the next one, comma, the next one. Then all of them are created of type string. But yes, so this is now, so now we've got another variable of type string to keep where we can put the first character into. So now we want to do that. So that variable first will get a value, and then from the sentence, and then what you do is you put the square brackets. So saying I want from sentence the character at position 1 to be put into there. So that's how this works. If you wanted the second character, you can put a 2 there. If you wanted the fifth character, you can put a 5 there. So this will extract that character from this variable and put it in there. Yes. So let me show you. So after we extract this, our last step would be again, just display this thing. So label there 3 in the text property. We're just going to display first. First is already a string, so we don't need to convert it. So let's quickly play this. Let's see what happens. So remember, I put a 1 in there. If we look at that code, there's a 1 in there. So if I say hi John again, if I click length, it will tell me the 7 characters. If I click this one, you see the first character is a H. If my sentence changed to A, B, C, D, E, and I click this, then it's an A there. So whichever one, even if I put a number there, 505, then 5 will be there. So the first character, whichever character it is, the first one will be put into there. If we change this a bit, let's say I said 4 there. So now the fourth character will be put in there. Let's just see how that works. Alright, my load shedding just kicked in. Just quickly give me a few seconds to just put the like my generator thing on for internet. I'll be back now. Huh? What now? Alright, turn it back. Alright, so what we did now, we changed it to a 4. So if I say A, B, C, D, E, if I click this, which character will be displayed? What do you think? D, because we set the fourth character. So A is the first, B is the second, C is the third. So our fourth one is D. So square brackets will allow you to extract a specific character at a or not a specific character, a character at a specific position inside a string. I think let's put comments in here. So length counted the number of characters what the square brackets does extracts a character from a specific position. Okay, please ignore my spelling mistakes. All right, everybody. All right, then what we can also have is maybe displaying the last letter of a sentence. So you'll see my tip I gave you now, we're going to use the length and we're going to use the square brackets. So step 1, what is our first step when you want to show the last character from the sentence? What's the first thing we need to do? B. So step 1 is get the sentence. So we get the sentence, but now instead of getting the first character, we want the last one. So I'm going to call it last. Yeah. After we've got the sentence, what would be our second step? Or if you don't know what the sentence is, how can you always get the last character? Who wants to give me an idea of what we can do? All right, so by knowing what the length of a string is, so the string can be any length, and without us having to count that, if we can use the length function, and the length tells us there's 27 characters, the last character is automatically in the 27th position. So what we can do is, after we've got the sentence, what do you think is the next thing we need to do to find out, to get the last character? Yes, perfect. So, and to work out the length of a string, what data type is that? Yes, perfectly. So we create a variable, let's say num, for number of characters, and it's of type integer. So then our second step, as we said, after we got the sentence, then we need to find out what is the length of that sentence. So our num must get the value of the length of my sentence. So now this will tell me what the length of the sentence is. So after I've got the length, what would be my third step for getting the last character? What must I do? Any ideas? So remember, you know the sentence now, and you know how many characters there are. And what we want is we want the last character of the sentence. All right, so do you agree the next step we will do is extract the character at the length position. So we've already got this variable last. So we can say the last will get the value. And then remember, what do we do to extract the character? We can use the square brackets. Do you agree? So from our sentence, we want to extract the character. But now inside, we have to say the position. Remember, we had a 1 there for the first, or a 3 if we want the third. But for now, we want the character at position num, because num is the length of the sentence. So if the sentence, for example, is hi space John, do you agree this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 characters? So num would have a value of 7 here. So what we do here now is, from the sentence, we're going to extract the character at position 7. So it's going to look 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7th character and extract that. So this would then give me the n. And once I've got the n, the last thing we have to remember, so unfortunately I didn't rename my variables of my components. So this should be labeled edit 4, I think. The text we want to put in last. So to display n. Let's quickly see how this works. So my sentence, I'm going to go A, B, C, D, E. The length is 5. The first character is A. The last character is E. Let's say this sentence changed. So now the length is 21. First character is still A. Last character is a D now, which is correct. And that's how that one works. All right. So our next one is we want to take that sentence, doesn't matter how the person typed it, but we want to put it into uppercase. So do you agree with this one again? Step one would be get the sentence. So what we do, we get the sentence. Create a sentence variable, get the sentence. Now we've got the sentence, but we want to make it capital letters. Let's call it capit, because it's a capital, because we want to make it capital letters. And that would also be a string, because it's the same characters again, it's just uppercase now. So how that works, there's actually a function that could help us with that called uppercase. So now we can just say our capital variable will get the value, and then we call the function called uppercase, and we give it send. So basically what this does, it will make sentence in uppercase and then put it into there. And once we've got that, we just display it again. So it's our labeled edit 5, I think. The text, and we want to display our variable capital. Let's see how that works. So the sentence, let's go hi John again. You'll see everything small letters. But if I click this, hi John, all in capital letters. Last character, first character, length. But hi John, all capital letters. So if you had some, let's say it's a hi space John where there's some capital letters, some small letters. When you click this, it still stays everything caps. So the capital stays capital, but it also is made capital letters. All right. Then I'm going to rush to the next one because it's relatively easy. For lowercase, that's to make everything small letters. It's the same thing, just the reverse. So our variable name could maybe be lower. We get the sentence again, but then our variable lower, we don't use uppercase, but there's a function called lowercase of sentence, and then we just display lower in edit box 6. So let's see what happens here. So if I go hi John, some capital letters, some small, length is fine, first character is fine, last character is fine. Uppercase, it's all capital letters. Lowercase, it's all small letters, even the H and the J. So that's how those two functions. Those two you don't use a lot, but you do every now and again. Want to make something capital letters or lower letters, and then that's where we're going to use them. So it's nice to know about them. I'm going to skip this one for now. I'm going to quickly just jump to this one. Because with this one is the different function. So your key ones that we use a lot is the length to find out how many characters are there. The square brackets to get a character out of a string. And then pause. Pause will give us the position of a character. Let's say you wanted to know where is the A inside the sentence, or where is a J. So we're not extracting a character, but we're finding out where is it. And for that, there's a pause function. All right, so our step one, get the sentence. So we're going to stick with that. Step one, get the sentence. Now, the next problem with this one is what we want to do is I want to find out where the A is. So let's quickly just play this again. And I'm going to need an answer from some of you, so you can be ready to unmute. So let's say My sentence is again A, B, C, D, E. I'm going to change this question. Let's say this question asked, where is the C? What would my answer be? In which position is C? Yes, in 3. So 3's data type is? Yes, perfect. So I want to find out, so I'm going to find A, and that is an integer, because that's where it's going to be. Now this specific button, I made it so that we can find out where A is. So how this works, our variable find gets the value then, and I said the function we use is pos. So see how pos works. You have to tell it what are you looking for, and then inside what. So I'm going to look for an A inside my sentence. And then when I find it, I want to display it here, which is labeled edit 8. So then my labeled edit 8 in the text property is the text property I want to put find. But remember, if we play this, we get the error saying string and integer, because remember find is an integer. So if I want to display an integer, what do I need? Yeah, so the int to string option. We need to change our integer to a string to display it. Let's quickly see how this works. So if my sentence is A, B, C, D, E, and I click this, tell me A is in the first position. If I take A away there and I put A at the back, and I click position, it will tell me 5. So this will tell me where the A is inside this variable. So this will find A inside the same variable. Alright, so pos will look for something. It will look for this thing inside that thing. And that's how pos works. Any questions on that? All right.